Good morning, welcome to this session. So in this session we shall discuss the last concept of your chapter system administration, that's distributed file system. So what is this basically distributed file system is? So this is shortly called as DFS as well. So your DFS has a multiple central processor which can serve your real-time applications, and it also serves the multiple users where data processing jobs are being distributed among the different processors so that which one can perform each job most efficiently. So as a part of it, we have a different types of or the different variants which is associated with the DFS. One is NFS, which is called as network file system. The second one is CIFS, that is common internet file system. The last one is HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system. So we will discuss one by one. The first and foremost is NFS and CIFS together, where your network file systems is specially used in an operating system like Linux and Unix, and your CIFS is used in an operating system like MS Windows. And your CIFS, especially coming to your CIFS, it's a distributed file system which has been developed by the Microsoft, and it makes use of a SMB. That is, it has been developed based on SMB, which we call it as a server message block, that provides or enhances functionalities and also provides a better security. Consolidated together NFS and CIFS, since it is a part of your DFS, so especially DFS makes use of a local file system. That means you do not have to create or prepare a separate local file system. Rather, the distributed file system itself will act as a local file system, and that feature is been available both in NFS as well as in CIFS. The other thing is, what we have to know is, as your the file size increases or the capacity of your file increases, we need one particular infrastructure where your large amount of files has to be stored, and we make use of one technology called as NAS, which is network attached storage. NAS is abbreviated as network attached storage, and we make use of this NAS to provide the better infrastructure to store your file. But only the drawback that what we have is its cost. Infrastructure is cost. The major advantage of using your NAS in NFS or in CIFS is it provides a better performance and availability. So as it's a part where if you would like to store a large number of files, so definitely we have to make use of your NAS, and the advantage to have your NAS, though its cost is infrastructure cost is more, so to provide the better performance and availability, so we make use of your NAS. The other advantage of using your NAS is where it's a unique file system, and that supports a remote request for accessing the files. So the other beauty of your NFS or DFS is distributed file system is where it helps the file system to access your file via network. So to access your files via network, we definitely have to make use of your NAS with its gateway. So here we have a simple general structure of NAS. So if you just look at this diagram, we have n number of clients, and here at the right side we have a gateway where the client is being connected over a network, and client is being controlled by or instructed by a protocol. Protocols are nothing but the set of rules and guidelines where a client has to be followed, and it makes use of a protocol called as NFS, that is network file system protocol. And at the other side you have a server which has been connected over a NAS gateway, and all these are your databases which is connected to one single central processor. Where why we use this gateway is a device in the network which can be used that supports or helps to connect the different types of protocols. Say your client makes use of a different protocol and your server makes use of a different protocol. To support this or to establish a network connectivity between the two different types of protocols, then we make use of a gateway, and that gateway is NAS, network attached storage. As I told you, the advantage of using your NAS is it provides a better performance and availability, and also helps to access your file through a remote login system with the help of your NAS gateway. So we also have some of the features discussing about all these whatever that we have discussed. Based on this, we have some of the features which are associated with both your NFS and CIFS, where your NFS and CIFS provides the functionality using a local file system. So the separate local file system need not have to be created. Your DFS itself will support both your NFS and CIFS to have a local file system. And since it uses your NAS, your cost of your NAS or the infrastructure for your NAS increases the purchase cost. So this could be a drawback, though it's a drawback, but you could get another advantage like having a better performance and the availability, and you can also access your files in a remote login system. And the other drawback that what you can say is NAS is not much scalable because of its cost. So what we do is we go with one more file system called as HDFS, which is Hadoop distributed file system, and this HDFS makes use of a model called as GFS, where this GFS is nothing but Google file system, where this Google file system is basically developed by Google, and it's a unique distributed system which helps to store the information about the web page. So this GFS it's a model which is being integrated to your HDFS, where your HDFS is an open source system. And the other thing is, the other advantage of using your HDFS is it can store a large files, wherein this large files are being separated into chunks and stores them in each data node. That means whatever the large files that we have broken down or separated into a chunk, one file is being stored in a multiple distributed data nodes. In this sense, you are creating a replica of one particular file and storing that one replica of the file in a different distributed data nodes, and each of these distributed data nodes is nothing but a chunk. The typical size of a chunk is 64 MB. And as I told you that the advantage of using your HDFS is it can store a large file and can be distributed and stored in a effective way. So the drawback associated with your HDFS is where, though it can store a large file, but the basic weakness, it is not suitable for processing a large number of files, which may create an out of memory, which we generally call it as OOM. So though you can store a large number of files, but HDFS is not suitable for processing it. But if you would like to store a large number of files and processing it, the best way that you can do it is going with your NFS and CIFS, which is being integrated with NAS. But you don't find the scalability in NAS. If you would like to have the scalability, then we have to go with HDFS. But though it can help to store a large files, but processing of these large files in HDFS may create a bottleneck, which leads to, or which may increase in out of memory, which we generally call it as OOM. OOM stands for out of memory. So based on all these parameters, we have some of the features which are associated with HDFS. So as we have discussed that your large files are being divided or separated into chunks, and the storage capacity of this each chunk is 64 MB, and the other advantage is where it can store a large number of files, and this acts like your HDFS acts like an API. API is nothing but application program interface, which helps to establish a communication between two different applications, and this API which is associated with your HDFS. As I told you, your HDFS acts like an API, and this API is written in your Java programming. So this is the end of this distributed file system, as well as the end of your chapter, that is system administration. Thank you.